What's up, fight fans? I'm the reason MMA is still banned in New York, Tommy Toehold. Welcome to the TapNapSnap Radio Podcast. Let's do this shit!
All right, guys, welcome to the TapNapSnap Radio Podcast. I'm your host, Ken Quignon, and by my side is the wrestling guru himself, Mr. Robi Vio. How you doing, Robbie?
Hello. It is a good day.
It's a great day. As we have a special guest joining us. We tried to do it once before, but due to some errors on our side, it didn't happen. So we're bringing him back, Mr. Mike Biggie Rhodes. How you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing good, man. How are you guys doing?
Oh, doing wonderful, man. For those that don't know, Mike's got a big fight coming up, one that I know a lot of us are excited for. A lot of our fans have, talked about being excited for, going against Robert Whitaker. I mean, I guess first off, what was your initial thoughts when that was the fight offered to you?
I didn't really have any opinion on it. Really. We have been looking for a fight for a long time. We hadn't fought since January. We had just been waiting for them to give us an opponent, and they dropped his name. Of course, we said yeah, and now the fight's set. He said yeah, I said yeah. So now, only thing to do is to fight each other now.
Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Coming off your, decision loss. I mean, obviously we've seen what happens when you come off a loss. Benjamin Smith learned that firsthand, knockout in the first. Camp going okay? Is this, you've obviously been in these waters before. How you feeling about the whole thing?
I think, the pressure is a little bit more, the opportunity is bigger with this situation. Obviously being in the UFC and losing 2 in a row is, it's not great to start off your UFC career. So this is a fight that I got to come back and, showcase who I am and get a win and get myself situated in the welterweight division in the UFC. But I relish it, man. I stepped up and I took the Brandon Thatch fight on short notice. It got me with the RFA. Mm-hmm. And then I knock a guy's teeth out, the first round, and all of a sudden, 2 fights later, I'm in the UFC. I lose that fight, and now I got to come out and show who I am and what I'm made of. And, I think I can do that. And I think this is the perfect opponent to, showcase my skill set and to beat a guy with a name. It's just, kill two birds with one stone kind of a thing. And, I'm just excited for the opportunity.
Yeah, and that was kind of one of the things, that I was kind of, actually really excited about was, it's a fight with a name. And, a lot of the fans, unless they pay attention to the lower, I wouldn't say the lower, but the other organizations really didn't know who you were first coming in. So, it's nice to see you getting a name. Robbie, I know you had some questions.
Oh, well, it's awesome to have Biggie back on the show, and we have things working this time. The last time that we talked to him, it was right before he had been brought into the UFC, and we were talking about how close we thought he was to the UFC. We were slightly off. He was like a week away from being there. We thought we were all talking about how we thought you were 1 or 2 wins away, and you were a week away from being there.
Yeah,
it's just awesome to look back on. But thinking on that, taking the fights on short notice, those are so far the 2 fights that you've had the trouble with. One of the strengths you definitely have coming into this one, you get you're getting the full, you kind of getting the full grasp of everything, getting a whole, a good shot, kind of in things, and it's not really an abrupt thing to be in the UFC like it was last time. I mean, the pressure, you say, is turned up because you don't want the 2 losses, but maybe it's turned down a little bit because you didn't just, welcome to the big stage out of nowhere. It's kind of a. Do you think that maybe Robert Whitaker, even though this is the pressure's up for because of losing your last fight, maybe the pressure's down in a different way because it's not your first one. Do you think you're going to be a little more comfortable or anything like that?
Yeah, when it comes to fighting, man, I'm comfortable all the time. Even on the short notice thing, I was comfortable in there. I had no fear. I wasn't nervous. A lot of people get those feelings, and I'm blessed to not. I just go in there with the mindset that I came here to fight. It's a fight, and that's how I always keep myself focused and ready to go. The pressure thing, I put pressure on myself. So, that's just because I expect so much out of myself because I see day in and day out all the work that I put in. So, there's pressure on myself all the time, but there's pressure on him too. He's fighting, he's fighting me, a fairly new kid to the UFC. He's the Ultimate Fighter winner. He's been in the UFC just about as long as I've been fighting in general, total. So, there's pressure both ways, but, I relish mine. I don't know how he handles pressure or how he handles those situations, but it's just going to make me, fight harder and bring my A game. And so, that's what I need sometimes is a little bit of pressure so I can perform.
Yeah, that's actually well put. You were talking about, his accomplishments and stuff. And one thing to remember with Whitaker, too, is, he's on a 2-fight losing streak. And, one of the things a lot of the media likes to say when, fighters have 2 fights, a 2-fight losing streak is the walking papers fight. So, how does he deal with the pressure? So that's, really well put. Are you looking at anything? I mean, obviously you can't give your game plan out or, nothing like that. Are you trying to focus a little more on anything this training camp than you have before? Or is this just another one of those, I'm going to go in, I'm going to do the work I need, and we'll see how it goes?
Man, my game plan is the same. I'll tell everyone my game plan. I'm going to come out, I'll punch you in the face. I'm going to use my hands to set up my kicks. My kicks are going to set up my hands, my knees, my elbows. And once I get you scared of those, they set up takedowns, set up jiu-jitsu. Game plan's overrated. I can tell you I'm going to punch you in the face, but you still got to stop me, And everyone knows, Rufus Sport, we kick people in the head, but no one's seen to stop it yet. So, that's the game plan. I'm going to punch him in the face. He's going to try and punch me. I'm going to kick him. He's going to try and kick me. I'm going to wrestle him. I'm going to use my jiu-jitsu. I'm going to use every tool that I have in my arsenal to win the fight, and whatever that entails, I'm willing to do. Whether it's, standing up on the ground, I just plan on being better everywhere, and being violent everywhere. Man, I want to win. I don't want to be in there for 15 minutes. I'm looking to finish him, and wherever it goes, I'm 100% confident I can finish the fight there.
And see that, I don't know if it's a Rufus Sport thing or, it just happens to be a, it just coincidence, but when we talked to Dustin Ortiz, kind of the same type of question, that was pretty much his answer as well. So that's really cool to hear. Go ahead, Robbie.
Me and that kid are like brothers, man. So we hang out so much. We talk about fighting so much. We're really, really similar in our mindsets on fighting and everything like that.
Yeah, that's good. That's the way that kind of thing tends to go. The philosophies rub off on one another. Earlier you said that Whitaker is the perfect kind of opponent to show what you're all about, and just to I don't want to seem like I'm putting anything out there or saying anything derogatory about Whitaker or anything. So what did you mean by that? Did you mean it was like just the perfect kind of guy that is going to fight your style more?
I think when I say he's the perfect kind of guy for me to showcase my skill set is that he's a really good striker as well. So that means that he's going to stand with me, and he's really good. He's well-rounded is what I'm getting at, and so am I. So, if I go out there and finish him, he's a really, really tough guy as well. So if I go out there and finish him, that just showcases, me as a fighter, and it's kind of a, coming out party for me. If I outstrike a guy like that, if I out-grapple a guy like that, I think it's the perfect situation for me with opponents because I'm not fighting another guy who's new to the UFC or anything like that. I'm fighting an established guy. So if I can do that to him, that kind of puts people on notice that, I'm here and I'm for real.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what a lot of people were saying too. I mean, on our page, we actually noticed that you actually have a pretty significant fan base, and that's kind of what people were a lot of people were alluding to when we announced this was, that it's your coming out party. This is where we're going to see, why Biggie is in the UFC. So that's actually really cool that you put it like that too. Go ahead, Rob. Keep going.
Well, I was gonna say, one of the best aspects about the fight, Biggie brought up a second ago. He said, these are two guys who are, they're both young guys, and well, Whitaker, youngish. He's been in the UFC for a while, but still a youngish guy, and Biggie, just coming into the UFC, who are mixed martial artists. Biggie, the way he can throw leather, he can throw them hands, and he can take you down, knock your block off with a kick. I mean, there's all kinds of there's many different ways that this fight it can go everywhere. And that you didn't see that a couple years ago, but you see that a lot more now, and that's one of the really intriguing things about the fight. And he said that was why he thought that he could showcase his abilities the way he did. But do you think that after this fight, are there any guys that you're maybe looking at, like maybe this is who I could pick off after this, or are you just going one at a time?
No, I mean, you always, as a fighter, you're always going through the division and going, I like this guy, I don't like this guy, I want this guy, I want to beat this guy up. And, I got a couple on my list. Obviously, me and Robert are assigned to fight each other, so, he wasn't on my list, but now he is, so.
That's an easy way to get on a list.
Yeah, I had to add his name to that list, but, I want to fight Neil Magny. I don't know if you guys saw my post during the Cincinnati card, but that guy is just one boring ass fighter, dude. He to be a a huge welterweight. The kid's like a giant in our weight class. He's like 6'3". Wingspan is like the longest in the division. He's got almost the same reach as John Jones, and yet he's running away from people. Like it was boring. The chick behind me was sweet. So I want to fight him. So, after I take care of business, I would love to fight him. My teammate Anthony's fighting Gilbert. Nate Diaz has decided he wants to come up to 170, which is dumb.
Yeah, I agree with that comment.
Really small. He's really small for 55. He wants to come up to 70. I will definitely welcome him after the show. I'm going to be out there for the show, and the thing is, I beat him up. I throw him around, ragdoll him. He's got good boxing, but he don't check kicks. He don't block kicks, and they like to think they can run through him. So yeah, I definitely put some shin up above his head.
I think Nate Diaz is the only one who's been punched in the leg before.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And so, those two guys stick out. And then there's some 170s that, I've been paying attention to that are young like me, new in the division, that are, making some things happen. So, I would like to fight those guys too. It's a guy out of Brazil. His name's Igor. He fought Danny Mitchell not too long ago. He's really good. I think that'd be a good matchup for me. Even Danny Mitchell, I love to fight him. And, they're bringing in a lot of talent, man. And so, I just need to get this first win under my belt, and then I'm going to start gunning after these guys.
Yeah, I mean, those are some fights that would be cool to see. And yeah, I do agree on the Diaz comment. I think it's quite funny him moving up, and I mean, he's trying to challenge Matt Brown, excuse me, which I mean, you and Brown are kind of similar, and you guys are both really big, so. Yeah, I definitely would not mind seeing that.
Nate is an idiot. That was the dumbest statement he could have made, is calling out Matt Brown. Like, you've seen what some of the guys have done to him, ragdolled him at 70, even 55. Ben Henderson just throwing him around and punching him in his leg and in his calf. And like he needs to stay at 55, man. 70 is not for him. Let his brother handle 70 when he decides to come out of retirement.
Well put.
I think that was a conservative statement, but you were speaking about Neil Magny, and he seems to have risen your interest a bit with his with the way he fights or doesn't fight. Yeah, and I don't know.
He's just boring, man.
What is it that frustrates him so much about it? I mean, or frustrates you so much about him? Is it seeing that, that massive wingspan, seeing all this natural ability, and then seeing his fight and being, where'd all that go? Why aren't you using that?
That exactly, and we had a fight here in Madison, and then we had a fight, before I made it to the RFA. We were gunning for a fight with him, and he had got called up to the UFC to do the Ultimate Fighter show. He had tried out, and so he made it. So I never got to fight him. So I'm watching him on this show. I'm like, this dude is a waste. You know what I mean? Like, watching him in the UFC, I'm like, this guy's a waste. Like, the guy looks like Tarzan, but he fights like Jane. You know what I mean? That saying. He's a physical specimen. He's a physical specimen, but he doesn't fight that way. Like, with those kind of gifts, he should be wrecking people in the welterweight division. He has the body build of a John Jones of our division. He just doesn't, he doesn't fight. I don't know if it's, how he trains or what, but he hasn't impressed me. And, like I said, this is coming from me. I got to get a win in the UFC before I can really start talking shit about people. But I definitely think that he would be an easy victory for me.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. The fighter styles are interesting to say the least. Go ahead, Robbie. You can keep going.
Oh well, I don't want to shovel too much more dirt onto the Magny thing or throw too much more gas on the fire. But that fight gets presented to you right now, Biggie. How do you see it?
Yeah, done deal. I destroy him in the first.
Nice.
I get it. I'd walk him down. He'd try to run around the cage. I'd cut off the cage. I'll use my hands. I'd take him down, and I would literally beat him up for the whole round, and he'd probably quit, or I'd finish him.
Well, that's easy answer to that. Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
I'm telling you, that's how it would go. I wouldn't give him any space. I wouldn't let him run away from me. I would make him fight. I would get in his face and make him fight.
Yeah, Ivan Drago mode.
I must break you.
Go ahead, Rob. You're good.
Oh, all right. You mentioned earlier your teammate Anthony Pettis. He's coming up on the title defense against Gilbert Melendez. Are you have you been involved with any of the kind of any of the try to there got to been privy to any of the champ's thoughts on the is he really worried hard on Gilbert Melendez or?
Anthony's different. He takes every fight, as it is, and he's a really focused guy, and he trains really hard for everyone. And we've been, he's only cleared to do certain things right now, so we've been boxing a lot and getting in a bunch of rounds, and this kid is on fire, and he can't even kick yet. That's his main weapon. And Gilbert, I read the interview. He said he's going to walk through his kicks.
That's not a good plan.
Yeah, that's not a good game plan. That's coming from somebody who's been hit in the head a bunch to say something dumb like that. Look at the guy down the line who said they were gonna walk through his kicks. That didn't work out too well for them. So
I think he needs to stop listening to Nate Diaz's advice. Probably.
Yeah, I know, right? That shit doesn't work. Especially not from a roof sport guy. We don't kick with our foot. We put our shin on your head, and that's a different story.
Yeah.
So he, I think he's delusional, but I think Anthony will beat him easy. You know what I mean? And maybe if Diaz fights before that and stuff like that, Anthony can smash him too. But that kid's focused. Like I said, he's focused. He's healthy. He's getting healthy. He's really, really determined to come back and shut a lot of people up. About the injury talk and things like that. He just needs to, win this fight, stay healthy, and keep decapitating people. So people realize he's one of the best in the world.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you brought up the injury thing because that was one thing I was going to ask you. It's been quite a while. I mean, we saw you in January. Obviously, has it just been you coming back now? Has it just been time off, or were you injured yourself, or has this just been waiting for the fight to be offered?
No, I was ready. I was training. I wanted to fight, the month after my fight. I was back training right away. I thought they would give me something a little faster, but, the UFC was putting on so many cards that they had a bunch of the guys that they wanted to have fights. They had them already booked. And so it's been a busy first half of the year for those guys. So, they worked their way from the top of the division to the, down to the bottom and making matchups. And, they have to make matchups according to, where they're holding cards and stuff like that too. So
yeah,
I think that played a big part. And I just got my name called, so it just happened to be that long of a break. But no, I haven't been injured. I've been ready to fight. I've been healthy. I've been training. So
that's great.
I'm just happy and good. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, that's real good news to hear that. Now, I mean, I guess on that same thing, is that something that you don't really like? Is that being on the shelf for so long? I mean, obviously you said before, you want to fight, you're ready to fight, you've been waiting, but I mean, does this type of break, I mean, do you just dislike that? Is that something detrimental to you, mentally?
No, it's not detrimental to me mentally, but I am a fighter who likes to fight. I've only been fighting for almost in December, or it's coming up on almost 3.5, 4 years, that I've been training and fighting, period.
Yeah.
So, I get better in the cage. Every time I fight, I get better, but, you need, I didn't want this break, but sometimes you need that kind of a break so you can actually, just get better all around and not focus on an opponent or a certain skill set. When you just have time to train and you don't have a fight, that's when I feel like you can make your biggest gains. You don't have to do a certain thing. You can kind of just train everywhere and everything. And I felt like, I got better all around. And that's good for me. And now that I did, the fight came at the right time. I feel like I'm ready to go.
Awesome. Now, I know last time we talked, I'm going to go back to the names thing because I can't believe I failed to even bring it up. But last time we talked, and we were talking about names and people you were looking at. I mean, obviously this time you have some good names, but Brandon Thatch, is that still one of them on your radar too?
Yeah, I always want to fight the people that I've lost to. It's not even like a revenge thing or anything like that. I just want if a guy beat me, when I'm at 100%, then he was just a better man.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I don't feel like I was at 100% in that fight with, taking it on short notice and all of those things.
Yeah.
But I feel like for a training camp, I still feel like I can beat that guy. So add George Sullivan's name to that list too. I know for a fact he's not better than me, and I thought that fight was a lot closer than what the judges thought.
Agreed.
I think they gave it to him just because he was more aggressive, but he didn't hit me. If you watch the fight, he didn't land anything flush on me.
Yeah,
I landed more flush shots. I took him down more than he took me down. I slammed him a couple of times. I controlled him up against the cage. I thought I won that fight, but 100%, he does not come close to me off a full training camp where I don't have to cut 36 pounds in 11 days.
Yeah, that was.
I feel like I destroyed him too. So, yeah, I want those fights back, man. Even though I'll never get them back in that moment, it's always going to be a loss in my record. But I definitely want to fight those guys. But I don't know what's going on with Brandon. I don't know if he's hurt or what. But
yeah, I was just looking because the name came up, and I'm not really finding anything on him. So I really don't know.
Yeah, because he's been on a streak. He was streaking him, in the UFC, and all of a sudden, you're not hearing about him. I wonder if he's injured or something like that. If he is, I wish him the best and getting healthy, man, because that guy's a monster. But, he's out of the sport already with a serious injury, so there's not anything too bad.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah. And, on your last fight with Sullivan, me and I was talking with a few of the guys, and I completely agree with what you said. I thought that, he really didn't do much in the fight, and I was really surprised at the scorecard, but, obviously judging is not really where it should be. So, can't really do much about that right now. Hopefully they fix that soon so all these travesties can stop happening.
Yeah.
Robbie, you got one more?
Yeah, it's just just very small word association with about 3 names from your division. Just 3 guys, from different spots in your division. Matt Brown.
Animal, man. That guy is, I got a teammate who's trained with him. That guy is a beast, and I'm a fan of his. I like the way he fights. There's no wasted movement. Every move he makes, he's trying to hit you. So, huge fan of that guy. He's really, really exciting. And like I said, I'm just a fan of his. But once again, I love to fight him.
Awesome. John Hathaway.
John Hathaway, huge. The guy's big, Pascal Kraus is one of my teammates, and, they fought each other, and Pascal's a big 170, and John Hathaway made him look little. The guy's big. He's got kind of a weirder, not standard style, I would say. Kind of fights at his own rhythm. I think he's coming off a loss, but he's definitely a talent. And, I respect the guy. He has that, that illness that he's been fighting with. So, yeah, you always got to root for a guy like that.
All right. Eric Silva.
Man, that guy, he confuses me. One day he's beast, the next day he's, not. The guy just needs to, I think he needs to move to America and train, in a better way. A lot of, it is what it is. I'm not saying anything bad about the Brazilians or anything like that, but, they lack the dieting, the kind of sports, training that we get here in the U.S. And I think that would help him tremendously because he's a beast in the first round. And then once you start hitting him and stuff, he gasses second, third round. I don't know if it's his diet. I seen him drinking a Coke after weigh-ins in Cincinnati. Like, I don't know what their idea of, putting the weight back on the right way, but the guy's an animal at first, but he just, he needs to work on his gas tank, but he is one of the, young guys that can be either really, really good or he can be a bust depending on, how he controls his career with, training and partying and everything like that. You never know what's going on with the guy, but another guy I would love to fight.
That's what I'd like to see, yeah.
Last but not least, the champion, Johnny Hendricks.
I like the guy, man. I like his beard. I like his accent. I like how honest he is. He's a real down-to-earth, honest person with a big, nasty-ass left hand. So, but I don't think he'll have a reign at 170. I think there's a couple guys that are more well-rounded than him that can drag him in the late rounds and kind of just pick him apart. But he's definitely a cool guy. You know what I mean? When you look at him, you hear him talk. He's got that Southern gentleman kind of thing to him. I like the guy. Would I accept a fight with him tomorrow? Yeah. But,
of course.
Yeah, I fight him off. But
line him up.
He's a good dude, man, and I'm happy for him that he got the belt. It was a really, really close fight with GSP, but he showed his heart and determination and coming back and beating Robbie Lawler in a fight that was really, really close to with the injury. So I wish him all the best on getting healthy and and defending his title.
Awesome.
That is awesome. So
since we're cutting down time now, we'll give you your time now to give your shout outs, if you want to put your Twitter and Facebook, all that stuff out there. Anything you want to say, the floor is yours.
I just want to say thank you to everybody for all the continued support, and I just want to let them know that it isn't for naught. I'm putting in countless hours in the gym every day, and sometimes your performances in the cage don't get to it doesn't show, but you can guarantee one thing is that I always work hard. I always give 100%, and when I step in that cage, I come to fight. And that's one thing you can know 100% of the time you're going to get from me. You know, I want to thank all my coaches, Duke Rufus, Scott Cushman, Daniel Vanderlei, everybody at Rufus Sport, you know, the UFC for giving me another opportunity. And, you know, hopefully I take advantage of this one and have longevity with the UFC. You can check me out on Twitter, Team Rock Biggie, TeamRockBiggie. My Facebook is Mike Biggie Rhodes fan page. Same on Instagram for Team Rock Biggie. I like to thank some of my sponsors, the Mod Cabin, you know, keeping my beard looking great, even though I can't really grow one. It's a little scraggly, but I want to thank those guys. Combat Corner for the great sparring gear that they just hooked me up with. RP's Pasta, best gluten-free pasta, hands down. My nutritionist, Eric Trilogy, my chef, Angela Pettis, you know, always keeping my weight and everything on point. Twisted Fate Tattoos, keeping me nice and inked up all the time. You know, after every fight, they take care of me. Been my first sponsor since before I even had an amateur fight. So that tells you what kind of great people that they are. And,
That's awesome. You keep them
you
around.
know, grit mouth guards, keeping my mouth all good so I'm not losing teeth. So, yeah, you know, I just want to thank all those guys, thank all my fans, and I just want to say keep supporting me. You know, my fight's going to be on Fight Pass, so, you know, wait to use your 7-day free trial. Until then, so you can watch me beat this guy up in New Zealand.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And, yeah, you know, make sure you check them out. We'll obviously link, you know, all the information so you guys can follow Mike, you know. And, you know, again, Mike, we really appreciate you joining us. And, you know, we really hope nothing but the best for you. And, you know, hope you kick ass that next fight. We're really looking forward to it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
No problem
Huge
at all.
thank you to Mike Biggie Rhodes. Make sure to watch him June 28th on UFC Fight Night in New Zealand. It is going to be a throwdown.
It
Boom.
definitely will be. So with that, we will talk to you guys on the flip side. Peace.